Hello, grade 8. Japan. Going through our second chapter, Japan, chapter 5, talking about the change that has come. You've had the Tokugawa shogunate ruling for 200 years. Tokugawa Ieyasu, the original, his sons, grandsons, all the way down the line, ruling with control, ruling with blocking out the outside world, not allowing anybody in. Slowly that's changing. You read about the Ainu, the people of the northern Japan who are the indigenous of the land, how they had to get help from other areas. They're close to Russia, that's where they might have come from. So they're doing different dealings without the shogunate knowing, and they try to stop that. So you read about the influence of Russia, the Tsar putting the ultimatum on Japan to do something. And as one group slowly starts to influence, others come in. In our other units, we're talking about the Renaissance, exploration time there, the Silk Road, and then the Italian city-states and all the travel there. Talking about Spain going out and exploring. So now you've got, Europe in the late 1700s, early 1800s doing the same thing. We talked about France and England last year going exploring in North America. Portugal exploring. So they're all exploring, looking for new worlds to trade, conquer, explore with. So they're now coming to Japan, and why Japan's not trading. Japan has let the Dutch East India Company trade, and then people realize that, so they start to fake being a Dutch ship. So they could maybe get some goods. So you're seeing slowly China, who big influence on Japan in the past, and Japan looked at them as this great country. Well, they're getting forced to trade. You have Britain coming in and basically telling China, they better or else, because Britain has become this great war ship. Lots of open sea travel and they're basically forcing their will upon it. So that happens to China. What's Japan going to do? So they're seeing all this around them happening. Russia trying to get in, and China being forced to trade. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? So you're getting that civil unrest. You're getting both sides, the people that are keep it the way it is, and the people that are no need to change. So basically, for your shogun, against your shogun's control. So you've done that part, looking at the United States now. United States, again, this is in the future here. This is in the mid-1800s, 1840. They've now come. Okay, we know they're a big independent country looking elsewhere to trade. They come, they show up, and they get the ultimatum like China got with Britain. You better trade with us or else. Commodore Perry forcing his will upon Japan to trade. So Japan has to make changes. They don't want to maybe, or some do, some don't. But now they're kind of forced upon it. So you got different points of view. That's page 177. Basically one group that kind of says, we're being forced, what do we do? Do we give in? Do we fight back? Others saying, let's embrace it. Like, maybe we need to. Because now you've been isolated for 200 plus years, maybe you've fallen behind. Remember in the past, Japan, when Portugal brought their gun, the firearm, Japan bought one and made many of them. They're a great technology if they can get it, but they haven't got it for 200 plus years. They've been living in their own little bubble. So they've missed out on some of the great changes. They'd never seen a ship like that in the United States came. This big, huge coal ship, steam, it was black. They didn't know what it was. They're behind the times. So they need to maybe embrace that. And once they do, Japan flourishes and takes off once they open the borders up. They jump ahead faster than anybody else. But again, different points of view of what you should do. Page 177 through 179, make sure you read them and understand. There's other things going on in Japan. Just like in other countries, when there's problems, not just one. There's sometimes famine that adds to an issue. Political change. Some people want to get back to the old ways of the emperor ruling. Because remember, the emperor at this point, when the shogunate, Tokugawa shogunate, was just a figurehead. But now maybe they want the emperor to have some status again, actually rule like the past and not rule with a military government. So you kind of see there's different things happening at civil unrest. And you'll get into talking about Emperor Meiji, a 14-year-old boy who basically gets put in charge once the Tokugawa shogunate is kind of abolished. They go back to the emperor. Can a 14-year-old really rule? Who's going to control him? His overseers, his advisors. That kind of gets into page 180 through 182, talking about the charter oath, a new set of rules they bring in. Putting the Emperor Meiji in charge. He signed the oath. So make sure you read that, because the charter oath is super important on page 182, what they're going to do. The assembly, they're going to make the type of government, how they're going to structure their social classes. Now they're going to change the way it was. Are they going to make it fair for everybody else? Are they going to start exploring? That's kind of where we're getting into, because you'll see next week when you do this, they do go out and explore under the new leadership. The Iroquois mission, they go to 22 or 12 different countries over almost a 2-year period learning about others. So once they do open the borders, they go wide open and they start learning a lot. We'll get into that next week, and by the end of next week we'll be done with chapter 5. Won't have a test on it, but I'll post some review assignment you can treat as an exam. So get your work done, get caught up please, anything else you can do, and thank you.